Welcome back, bookworms, to Cliffhangers and Page Turners. We are going deep this week, literally because we're taking on Deep End by Ali Hazelwood.
Oh, Hazelwood. I always love diving into her stories.
Well, this one takes us to the world of competitive diving with Scarlett, a Stanford athlete battling a serious mental block. So just imagine being at the top of your game.
Yeah.
But suddenly you can't execute like a fundamental move, and that's Scarlett's reality. She can't bring herself to perform inward dives.
It's interesting how Hazelwood uses this very specific block to represent, I guess you could say, a larger struggle with anxiety and trauma. I mean, it's not just about the physical act of diving, right? It's all those mental and emotional hurdles that Scarlett has to overcome.
Totally. And then to add fuel to that fire, enters Lucas, an Olympic swimmer with a personality as intense as his training regimen. Thinks stoic, direct, and maybe a tad unconventional in his interests.
That's Hazelwood's signature, isn't it? Those larger-than-life characters who challenge each other and push boundaries.
For sure, and their dynamic is electric. But here's the thing. Listeners, we have some different opinions on this one.
Oh.
I was completely hooked by Scarlett's journey. I found the romance captivating and loved the satisfying ending. But, our expert here had a different experience.
Yeah, let's just say I wasn't as swept away. I appreciated certain elements, especially Scarlett's determination, but I had some reservations about the pacing and maybe the believability of certain situations.
Okay, so stick around, listeners, as we unpack why we had such different reactions. Let's start with Scarlett's backstory. We learned that she was practically diving royalty, junior Olympian national team member, even a junior world medalist. But a shoulder injury during her freshman year completely derailed her.
And it's not even just the physical injury that haunts her, right? It's the weight of those expectations, the pressure to live up to her past achievements, and, that fear of failure that truly cripples her. Hazelwood does a great job of showing us how that internal pressure can be so much more debilitating than any outside force.
It's true. And you can't forget the added pressure cooker of being a Stanford athlete.
Yeah.
She's surrounded by high achievers, constantly reminded of what she feels she's not achieving.
Right. And what's really intriguing is how Hazelwood connects Scarlett's physical injury to this deeper psychological struggle. We see her grappling with the trauma of her past, especially, her abusive relationship with her father. And this past trauma just adds this whole other layer of complexity to her mental block, making it so much more than just a fear of physical harm.
Yeah, and that's where therapy comes into play. We see her attending these sessions, and she's slowly starting to unpack her past and its impact on her present. And, it's a gradual process,
right,
full of setbacks and breakthroughs.
Yeah.
But it's essential for her growth.
I like that Hazelwood portrays therapy realistically. It's not a quick fix. It's a journey of self-discovery requiring effort and dedication, just like, the rigorous training of a competitive diver.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of seeking help and understanding the connection between our mental and physical well-being, something I think a lot of listeners can relate to.
For sure.
Now let's talk about the other force in Scarlett's life, Lucas. He's this successful Olympic swimmer who initially seems stoic and reserved, but has this hidden intensity that really drew me in.
He's definitely a complex character on the surface. He's driven and focused and incredibly successful, but beneath that exterior, there's a vulnerability and a desire for connection that he really struggles to express.
Yes, and their initial connection is sparked by something rather unexpected. Scarlett's kink.
And that's where I started to raise an eyebrow. While I appreciate Hazelwood exploring, different aspects of attraction, I wasn't entirely convinced by this particular catalyst for their relationship. I felt like it was a bit contrived and maybe even a tad exploitative.
I can see your point. It's definitely an unconventional start, even more so when you consider that Lucas's ex-girlfriend, Penelope, actually suggests they have sex.
Oh, Penelope. Penelope is a fascinating character in her own right. She's successful, confident, and seemingly very comfortable with open relationships.
Yeah.
She adds this whole other layer of complexity to the entire dynamic, and even after breaking up with Lucas, she maintains a strong presence in his life, believing that they're, destined to be together.
Right, and her belief in their destiny, it creates this constant undercurrent of tension in Lucas and Scarlett's budding relationship.
Totally. It makes you question her motives, right? Like, is she genuinely trying to help them both, or is she orchestrating events to, ensure their eventual reunion?
I think it's a manipulation tactic, for sure. Yeah. But what I admire about Scarlett is that she doesn't allow herself to be a pawn in their game.
Right.
She confronts Penelope, sets boundaries, and refuses to be controlled.
That's a testament to her strength and resilience. She's not afraid to stand up for herself, even if it means risking, a potential relationship with Lucas.
And that strength is ultimately what allows her to break free from the influence of both Penelope and her past trauma. And she realizes she has the power to define her own life, her own relationships, and her own happiness.
Yes.
Which brings us to their relationship despite its unconventional start.
Okay.
I found it quite compelling. They build this foundation of honesty and understanding, acknowledging their vulnerabilities and supporting each other through their individual challenges.
I will give Hazelwood credit for showcasing their emotional connection. They share very intimate details, they challenge each other's perspectives, and they create a space where they can both be themselves.
Yes.
However, I felt like the pacing of their relationship was a bit rushed. It escalated very quickly from a research project to a very intense physical connection.
That's fair. Hazelwood does have a tendency to accelerate the timeline of her romances, but for me, the focus was really on Scarlett's internal journey and how Lucas, in his own way, played a role in her growth.
And that's a really important point. Lucas, despite his bluntness and sometimes questionable methods, does provide a sense of support for Scarlett. He encourages her to confront her fears. He challenges her to see herself differently and ultimately helps her, take control of her life.
Exactly. He becomes this catalyst for her growth, pushing her to dive back into the deep end, both literally and metaphorically.
And that's where Hazelwood's writing shines, the way she describes those diving scenes. You can almost feel the water, the pressure, the exhilaration as Scarlett pushes past her limits.
It's so visceral. You're right there on the diving platform with her feeling her anxiety, her determination, and ultimately her triumph as she conquers her fear.
And speaking of triumph, the culmination of her journey at the Winter Nationals qualifiers is so well written.
Oh, yeah?
The tension builds as she prepares for the dive. The pressure is immense, and then boom, she nails it.
It's so good.
Not only does she overcome her block, but she unexpectedly earns a spot on the World Championship team.
It's such a satisfying moment. It's the culmination of all her hard work, her pain, her doubts, and it's a powerful reminder that we can achieve anything we set our minds to.
Agreed. The ending is emotionally resonant and very satisfying, even if I did have some reservations about the journey to get there.
Right.
But, that's the beauty of books, isn't it? They evoke different emotions and interpretations in each reader.
Absolutely. And that's what we love about discussing them with all of you.
Yeah.
So tell us, listeners, what stood out to you most about Deep End? Did you connect with Scarlett's journey? Were you swept away by the romance? Let us know in the comments.
And here's a thought-provoking question to ponder. Do you think Scarlett and Lucas's relationship is built to last? Given their demanding careers and very different personalities, could they navigate the challenges that lie ahead?
Ooh, good one.
One thing that struck me about their relationship is the contrast between their communication styles. Like, Scarlett's more introspective. She processes her emotions internally, while Lucas is blunt almost to a fault.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely not one to beat around the bush.
Yeah.
But I actually found that refreshing their dynamic challenges, the stereotype of the brooding, emotionally unavailable male character so often found in romance novels.
I see your point. There is a certain vulnerability in his directness. He doesn't play games.
Right.
He lays his cards on the table.
Yeah.
Which can be appealing, but also unsettling.
And for Scarlett, who's been hurt and betrayed in the past, that honesty is crucial. It allows her to build trust and open up in a way she might not have been able to with someone more guarded.
That's a good point. It speaks to the importance of finding a partner who meets your emotional needs, even if those needs are unconventional.
Exactly. And their relationship isn't all sunshine and roses. They have arguments, they misunderstand each other.
Right.
They push each other's buttons. But through it all, they maintain a level of respect and communication that allows them to grow both individually and as a couple.
I'll give Hazelwood credit for showcasing the messy reality of relationships. They're not always picture perfect.
No.
And it's through those conflicts and resolutions that we see genuine growth and connection.
Yes. And one thing I appreciated about this book is that it delves into Scarlett's therapy sessions in a really meaningful way. We see her working through her past, trauma learning coping mechanisms for her anxiety, and ultimately gaining the tools she needs to move forward.
I found those scenes particularly insightful. We get a glimpse into the therapeutic process, the challenges, the breakthroughs, and that gradual unraveling of those deeply ingrained patterns. It's a reminder that healing takes time and effort.
And it's not just about talking. We see her therapist encouraging her to engage in activities that bring her joy, to rediscover her passion for diving, and to reconnect with her body in a positive way.
It highlights the holistic nature of therapy, how it addresses the mind, body, and spirit, and I think that's such a powerful message for anyone struggling with their mental health.
Absolutely. It's about finding what works for you, whether it's therapy, medication, exercise, creative expression, or
Right.
combination of approaches. It's about taking those steps towards healing and self-discovery.
And one thing that struck me about Scarlett's journey is the parallel between her diving block and her emotional block. They both involve this fear of going inward,
Oh, wow.
of confronting the depths of her pain and vulnerability.
That's a brilliant observation. The diving metaphor takes on a whole new meaning when you look at it through that lens.
Exactly. The physical act of diving becomes this symbolic representation of her internal struggle as she learns to trust herself in the water. She also learns to trust herself emotionally, to face her fears, and to embrace her true self.
And speaking of embracing her true self, Lucas plays a significant role in that process. He sees her strength, her determination, her intelligence, and he encourages her to see those qualities in herself.
He challenges her to break free from the expectations of others, to define her own path, and to pursue her passions without apology.
And he does so in a way that feels really authentic to his character. He's not trying to fix her or change her.
Right.
He's simply supporting her as she navigates her own journey.
And that's a key element of a healthy relationship, wouldn't you say? The ability to support each other's growth without trying to mold each other into something we're not.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes their relationship so compelling. Despite some of its unconventional aspects, they see each other, they accept each other, and they encourage each other to be their best selves.
And that's a powerful message for all of us, isn't it? To find those relationships, both romantic and platonic, where we feel seen, heard, and supported.
I love that. And, one thing that really stood out to me about this book was just the vivid descriptions of the diving world, even though I'm not a diver myself. Hazelwood made me feel like I was right there on the platform with Scarlett, experiencing the thrill and the terror of those dives.
I agree. The writing is so immersive and evocative. She clearly did her research.
Yeah.
Capturing not only the technical aspects of the sport, but also the emotional and psychological demands it places on these athletes.
You can feel the pressure, the anticipation, the exhilaration, even the pain as Scarlett pushes her body to its limits.
And she doesn't shy away from the darker side of competitive sports.
Yeah.
The injuries, the setbacks, the mental toll it can take.
It's a reminder that behind the glamour and the glory, there's a lot of hard work, sacrifice, and resilience.
And that's something I think a lot of us can relate to, even if we're not athletes.
Yeah.
We all face challenges and setbacks and moments of self-doubt, and it's in those moments that we need to draw on our inner strength and find the support we need to keep going.
I love that. And, one of the things that surprised me about this book was the role of friendship despite the romantic focus. Hazelwood also explores the bonds between Scarlett and her friends, both old and new.
Yeah, the friendships are nuanced and well-developed. We see the complexity of Scarlett's relationship with Penelope, the rivalry and the loyalty, the hurt and the forgiveness.
It's a reminder that friendships, like any relationship,
Right.
can be messy and challenging, but they can also be incredibly rewarding and supportive.
And we see the emergence of new friendships as well. Scarlett connects with other divers, finding common ground and shared experiences that help her feel less alone in her struggles.
It's a testament to the power of finding your tribe.
Yes.
Those people who understand you, who challenge you, and who celebrate your victories alongside you.
And sometimes those tribes can surprise us. Scarlett finds unexpected allies in some of the swimmers, particularly Lucas's friends,
Oh, interesting.
who offer support and encouragement despite their initial skepticism.
It's a reminder that we shouldn't judge people based on first impressions or stereotypes.
Right.
Sometimes the most unlikely individuals can become our biggest cheerleaders.
And speaking of cheerleaders, we can't forget the role of family in Scarlett's journey. Her stepmother, Barb,
Oh, Barb.
is a constant source of love and support, even when Scarlett pushes her away.
Barb is such a heartwarming character. She's not perfect. But her love for Scarlett is unwavering. She provides a safe haven, a listening ear, and unconditional acceptance, which is exactly what Scarlett needs to heal and grow.
It's a beautiful portrayal of a complex but loving familial relationship, and it highlights the importance of having those safe and supportive spaces in our lives, whether it's with family, friends, or chosen family.
Exactly. And that sense of support is crucial for Scarlett as she faces her biggest challenge, overcoming her mental block and returning to the diving board. The way Hazelwood builds the tension leading up to that final dive, is masterful.
Oh, yeah, you can feel the weight of expectations, the fear of failure, the pressure she's putting on herself, but you can also feel her determination, her resilience, her unwavering belief in herself.
It's a nail-biting moment, and when she finally takes that plunge, both literally and figuratively, it's a moment of pure triumph, not just for Scarlett, but for all of us who have ever faced our fears and come out stronger on the other side.
It's a powerful reminder that we are capable of so much more than we think we are, and that even when we stumble and fall, we have the strength to get back up and keep going.
I love that. And, one of the things that really resonated with me about this book was the message of self-acceptance.
Mm.
Scarlett learns to embrace her flaws, her vulnerabilities, her quirks,
Right.
and to see them as strengths rather than weaknesses.
That's a valuable lesson for all of us, isn't it? To let go of the need to be perfect.
Yes.
And to embrace our authentic selves, imperfections, and all.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Deep End more than just a romance or a sports story. It's a story about human resilience, the power of self-belief, and the importance of finding our tribe and embracing our true selves.
And it's not even just about, finding that acceptance within ourselves. Deep End also explores the power of finding acceptance and support from others.
Yeah, we see the importance of those connections throughout the book, starting with Scarlett's bond with Penelope, even though their relationship is complicated. I mean, they were rivals and best friends who have a history with the same man.
Yeah.
They provide each other with a sense of belonging and understanding.
Their dynamic is fascinating. It highlights the complexities of female friendships, particularly in those competitive environments.
Yeah.
There's rivalry, yes, but also a deep sense of loyalty and support.
It's refreshing to see a book that doesn't shy away from portraying those complicated dynamics. Female friendships are rarely simple or straightforward, and Deep End captures that beautifully.
And, beyond Penelope, we see Scarlett forging new connections with her fellow divers, finding common ground and shared experiences that help her feel less alone in her struggles.
These new friendships highlight the importance of finding your tribe, those people who understand the unique pressures and challenges you face. It's about finding a space where you can be yourself, where you can celebrate your victories and lean on each other during those setbacks.
And sometimes those support systems come from unexpected places. We see Scarlett finding allies in some of the swimmers, particularly Lucas's friends.
Yeah.
They offer encouragement and support, challenging those initial stereotypes she had about them.
It's a reminder that we shouldn't judge people based on, first impressions or preconceived notions. Connection and support can come from the most surprising sources.
And of course, we can't forget the unwavering support from Scarlett's family, particularly her stepmother, Barb.
Barb is such a rock for Scarlett. She provides a safe haven, a listening ear, and unconditional love even when Scarlett pushes her away. Their relationship is a beautiful example of the complexities of family dynamics and the healing power of forgiveness.
It's a reminder that family isn't always about blood ties. It's about the people who choose to love and support us, who create a space for us to be ourselves, flaws and all.
Exactly. And all of these relationships, both romantic and platonic, play a crucial role in Scarlett's journey of self-discovery and healing. They help her realize that she doesn't have to face her challenges alone.
And that's a powerful message, isn't it? We all need those support systems in our lives.
Yeah.
Those people who believe in us, who challenge us, and who love us unconditionally.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes Deep End such a compelling read. It's not just a romance or a sports story. It's a story about the power of human connection, the importance of finding your tribe, and the transformative power of love and acceptance.
Beautifully said, and it leaves us with a lot to think about, doesn't it? How do we cultivate those meaningful relationships in our own lives? How do we offer support to those who need it? And how do we create space for vulnerability and authentic connection?
Those are great questions for all of you to ponder, dear listeners. So tell us what resonated with you most about the relationships in Deep End. Did you find yourself drawn to the friendships or the family dynamics?
And here's one last thought-provoking question for you. Do you think Scarlett and Lucas are truly meant to be? Or are they simply a product of circumstance and shared interests? Could their relationship weather the storms that life inevitably throws their way?
Oh, that's a good one. Let us know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more bookish deep dives. We love hearing from you. And be sure to tune in next week. We'll be talking about The Waiting Game by Nicola Clark.
Until then, happy reading, everyone.
See you next time.